for September 29th of 2020 and approval of the payroll register. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, does anyone have a public comment to make on the items within the consent agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion from the board on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up is new business. First under new business is approve addendum to agreement for consulting services for the 3rd Street and Indiana Avenue intersection improvements with Dietz, Inc.
Good evening, Neil Copper, Planning and Transportation. This is a project to replace and improve the traffic signal at 3rd and Indiana. Dietz is currently under contract for that design for that project. This addendum is because originally we were anticipating putting the project out to bid last winter. For a number of reasons, we ended up kind of putting it to bed and then reviving it to go out to bid this winter. So the design effort went from 6 months to 18 months. So this contract kind of acknowledges the work to get back up to speed and some of the additional coordination that went on there. There is no additional fee. We're actually found some savings within a different task of the project. So the meetings task gets decreased by $2,720, and that goes over to the plan specs and estimate task. So the contract total remains unchanged at $61,730. Staff recommends approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
And do you think, Neil, that construction will be in summer of 2021?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any public comments on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion from the board on this item?
I move that we approve addendum to agreement for consulting services for the 3rd Street and Indiana Avenue intersection improvement with Dietz, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next is Resolution 2020-52, approve right-of-way encroachment agreement for 616 South Woodlawn Avenue.
Good evening, everybody. This is Sarah Gomez with the Planning and Transportation Department. Well, I've lost the meeting. I'm sorry. Can you all still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
We can hear you.
I clicked something. Okay, I apologize. So Joanne Four White and David White are owners of the property located at 616 South Woodlawn Avenue and are requesting approval for an existing carport encroachment. And the carport has been located in the alley on the north side of their property for approximately 30 years, according to the owners. And through recent efforts to repair the carport, they found out it is located in the city right-of-way, which led to this encroachment request. The alley is impassable to pedestrian or vehicular traffic due to overgrowth, as can be seen in the photo exhibit. And the impassability of the alley at this location is not blocking adjacent property owner access to their property, specifically their driveways. As shown in the aerial photo, there are passable north, south, and east-west alleys adjacent to this portion of alley that maintains access to those adjacent property owners' driveways. Due to the undetermined amount of time the alley has been impassable without issue, the efforts of the property owners to maintain the structure, as well as their efforts to ensure an agreement is in place, staff recommends approval of the encroachment agreement. Oh, there we go.
And Sarah, I am
Thank
here.
you.
Yes, and
Joan, I'm here.
Joanne is here.
Joan, yeah, thank you.
Joan, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay.
Are there questions from the board on this item?
I don't really have a question. It's more of just a comment, just to
And I
make
don't have a
sure
question.
the owners understand that if, you know, if we give approval and if in the future the city would ever want to improve that alleyway, it would be at the expense of the owners. Just want to make sure that that's aware, and it is in the contract, but just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I believe I shared that with them, but thank you.
Yeah, and we, during the work session, we discussed, you know, the configuration of the alleys in the area and, you know, the likelihood that there would be any improvement attempts in the very near future. And it seemed like all signs pointed to this encroachment being, you know, permitted to continue at this time from the staff perspective. Is that a reasonably accurate summary, Sarah?
Yeah, and you know, Adam even weighed in on that as the public works director, saying that he didn't know of any current plans to make any improvements in that area. I know we don't have any capital projects happening for that, which we don't typically do in alleys anyways, unless it's a downtown project possibly. So, yeah.
Any other questions from the board?
No.
Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion from the board?
I
I move that we approve.
Resolution 2020-52, approve the right-of-way encroachment agreement for 616 South Woodlawn Avenue.
Second.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have approved preliminary engineering contract with the Etica Group for the guardrail maintenance phase 2 project.
Good evening. This is Roy Aiton with the Planning and Transportation Department. This project will repair, replace, and install critical sections of guardrail throughout the city. Through a request for information completed last month, the Etica Group was selected to design this project from the city's on-call engineering consultant list due to their familiarity with and expertise in this type of project. The work will continue on from our guardrail assessment replacement that was completed earlier this year. And the total contract amount for the professional services on this phase will be $107,948. Construction for this project is anticipated in the spring of 2022 and will be partially funded with federal HSIP funds. So our design should be completed around 8/4/2021, and our letting is in October 14th of 2021. And the construction will be in the spring of 2022 for replacement of around 30 sections of our guardrail. The staff has reviewed the contract and we are recommending approval.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
Roy, would you mind discussing Metric Environmental Inc.'s involvement in this project?
Sure, be happy to. So because this project incorporates federal funds, there's a requirement through NEPA that an environmental assessment has to be done on every project that incorporates federal funds. The Metric subconsultant for Etica, they will be the ones handling that environmental process and through Federal Highway and through NDOT for approval. On this one, this is a kind of a minor, it's not the lowest level environmental. It's one stage up, but it's a rather minor environmental assessment. And by environmental, they will look at aspects, impacts to both historic areas. They'll look at impacts to the neighborhoods and things like that. And there's an assessment that they'll do to meet the minimum requirements for the project.
Other questions from the board on this item?
No, but thank you, Roy, for talking about that. Appreciate it.
Are there any public comments on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion from the board?
I move that we approve preliminary engineering contract with the Etica Group for the guardrail maintenance phase 2 project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have approve addendum to agreement for consulting services for the Beeline Extension project with Aztec Engineering.
Once again, this is Roy Aiton with Planning and Transportation. And this project will install a new multi-use path from the Beeline Western Terminus at North Adams Street to West 17th Street. Aztec Engineering was selected to design this project and awarded a contract on December 12, 2017. This addendum will add additional design services, additional environmental services, revised right-of-way acquisition services, and utility potholing to the contract for an additional amount of $180,900. After approval of this addendum, the final cost of the design contract will be $883,699. Funding for this addendum will be provided through the consolidated TIF, and this approval is also subject to an RDC approval. Staff has reviewed the addendum, and we are recommending approval with one condition, that no notice to proceed for Addendum 3 shall be issued until funding is approved through the Bloomington Redevelopment Commission.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
I don't have any questions.
Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, do we have a motion on this item?
I move approval of the addendum to agreement for consulting services for the Beeline Extension project with Aztec Engineering, with the following condition, that the notice to proceed for Addendum 3 should not be issued until funding is approved through the Redevelopment Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have approve concrete services recover forward project with Groomer Construction.
Good evening, Michael Larch, Operations Manager, Public Works, filling in for Adam this evening. The next 5 items are mine, so we'll go through these slow and allow you to ask questions if you have some. First up though, Recover Forward project. We did an RFQ approximately a month ago in regard to Recover Forward funds that were allocated by the Office of the Mayor. We received 3 quotes back. Groomer Construction was the most responsive and responsible contractor that agreed to provide all labor, materials, and equipment on an as-need basis for the construction of concrete sidewalks, maintenance, and repairs for the Recover Forward project. At a cost of $77 for the 5.5-foot monolithic sidewalks and a cost of $65 for the 5-foot sidewalk. If you have any questions, we would like to approve this contract and begin this project before the end of the year.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
We
And
plan
Michael, this
to.
is not to exceed.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to ask if we plan to finish all this before the end of the year. I know we want to start it, but
This is a weather situation, so we definitely will start. I know from my experience, working in the alleys and on Kirkwood now, that concrete can be poured late into the season just because they will blanket it. So the hope is to finish installation before the end of December for this, yes.
okay, great.
And that includes neighborhoods also.
Yeah, so we used a multitude of data, primarily from the planning and transportation side, in regards to walkability and individual residents that live within a close proximity of downtown that do not have vehicles. So we focused on those areas that have a lot of trip hazards and a lot of degraded sidewalks that are currently in need of some attention.
That's good. I'm glad you're focusing on that. Thank you. And also, it's not to exceed $50,000, correct? The contract cost.
That is correct. So this is for him to go through and find areas that have trip hazards from street trees in the right of way, the city's right of way.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on this item? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve concrete services recover forward project with Groomer Construction.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next is approve agreement with Traffic Control Corporation for installation of cellular connectivity products for traffic signal monitoring.
Michael Large again, Public Works. This construction project includes the purchase of equipment and installation of preemption priority cellular connectivity to our existing traffic signals. Our street department would like to move forward with installing one traffic management system, which is applied information technology for consistency at all of our signals and flashers. So this is basically a preemption system that allows us to control lighting for snow plows primarily as they come through lights during snow events when traffic is minimal. So if you have any questions, I'm free to answer.
Any questions from the board on this item?
Michael, does this also include traffic light control for emergency vehicles?
So that Beth is something that we are talking about in collaboration with BFD, EMS, IU Health, and Bloomington Transit. That is something that will be coming to the board at a later date. So there is a bigger plan for the preemption, but this is currently just for those street division actions and processes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we had talked a bit in the work session about how this technology helps to coordinate the lights, with each other through that corridor, and helps the street department to identify when there's a problem, what might be causing the problem, without having to be immediately, present on the scene to try to discern that. They can get some good information remotely as well. Any other questions on this item? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion from the board on this item?
I move that we approve agreement with Traffic Control Corporation for installation of cellular connectivity products for traffic signal monitoring.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next is approve addendum number 1 to cleaning services agreement with SSW Enterprises, LLC.
Michael Large, Public Works. So this is for J.D. Boris facilities, the cleaning primarily of City Hall. This is to amend the original contract. There was a mistake in calculation for the number of days serviced. So that is an increased fee in addition to COVID supplies that have been purchased and the decontamination of 2 fire stations thus far. Considering all the factors that I've spoke of and others, staff is requesting permission to amend the contract with SSW Enterprises LLC to increase the do not exceed amount by $20,000. This would increase the 2020 contract amount from $2,113,833.44 to $233,883.44. Free to answer any questions.
Questions from the board on this item?
I don't have a question.
Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion from the board?
I move that we approve addendum number 1 to cleaning services agreement with SSW Enterprises LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have approve engineering services agreement with Ratio Architects for assessment of spalling on the south wall of City Hall.
Michael Large, Public Works, for JD Bohr, Facilities Director again. This contract is for engineering services to include evaluation and repair recommendations for the exterior brick masonry on the south end of City Hall. During the tuck pointing that took place over the spring and summer, it was brought to our attention that there's excessive spalling of that brick surface. Ratio Architects will evaluate the wall, recommend solutions to the problem, then represent the department before the Bloomington Historical Preservation Commission. Staff recommends awarding the contract to BFW Crane Incorporated not to exceed $5,000. Free to answer any questions.
And Michael, if this is approved, it's slated to be completed in January of 21.
That's
the
correct.
date they would like to have that completed. Okay.
That's correct. Yep.
I might be a little confused, but wait, is it Ratio Architects or is it BFW Crane Inc.?
That looks like a Scrivener's error to me. That is definitely a Ratio. Ratio
Okay.
Architects Inc. Will be doing the services for us
Assessment.
evaluating. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Isn't the BFW crane the lifting equipment if they need that? Is that what they do?
That is correct, but I believe it's just a Scrivener's error on the vendor.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like in the
Yeah.
actual agreement, it says Ratio Architects. But just on the staff report, that is maybe
Right.
left over from an old report or
Correct.
something.
Correct.
Other questions on this item? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve engineering services agreements with Ratio Architects for assessment of spalling on the south wall of City Hall.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have approved memorandum of understanding with City of Bloomington and Monroe County for community crossing grant for Quarry Lane.
Michael Large, Public Works again for Adam Wason. This is a MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Bloomington and the County of Monroe for community crossings grant funding from NDOT for South Quarry Lane resurfacing from West 3rd Street to West Bloomfield Road. Much like the previous instance when we had on Arlington Road, West Bloomfield Road, this is an agreement between the city and the county to complete the resurfacing of that roadway. And it's just an agreement for the funding source to come from the community crossings. And that is something that's necessary and NDOT requires is this MOU. So free to answer any questions if you have them.
Questions from the board on this item?
That funding has not been received yet. Is that true? They have not received the okay on the funding agreement?
That's correct. So the MOU is a preemptive agreement that's necessary before we can move forward with the receiving of the funds.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this item? Any public comments on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion from the board?
I move that we approve memorandum of understanding with City of Bloomington and Monroe County for community crossing grant on Corey Lane.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up is staff reports and other business.
Michael Large, Public Works. Adam Wason again, once again, just want to reiterate Beth's comment at the very beginning of the meeting. We are coming up on leafing season. Please look for leafing flyers and mailers to go out the 1 week from tomorrow on the 21st of October. And we will begin leaf pickup the week of November the 9th. We're going a little bit late this year, working with the Office of the Mayor's Innovation Director. We are doing some pilot programs in a variety of neighborhoods throughout the city. In addition, just to some overall education of mulching and composting for residents. So we really encourage people to visit our website and just put leafing into the search bar on the city's website, and it will bring you to a brand new page that has a lot of information regarding mulching and leafing for you. So feel free to reach out to the Department of Public Works if you have any questions.
Thanks. Next up is claims. Are there any questions from the board on claims? Beth, did you have a question on claims?
No, I don't have a question. No, thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion from the board on claims?
I move that we approve claims $1,401,776.81.
And second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And if there's nothing else this evening, then I will call for adjournment.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.